This episode brought to you by MeepleRealty.com, your source for high-quality custom board game inserts. Meeple Realty, think inside the box. Charterstone is a worker placement legacy game for 1 to 6 players. I've already taught you how to play with 2 to 6 players in a previous video. The link for that video is in the description below. However, if you want to play with 1 player, or if you want to add additional active charters to a game with less than 6 players, you're going to need to know how to use the Automas, and that's what I'm going to teach you in this video. Regardless of the number of human players in a game, there are always 6 founding villagers, each of which operates their own charter. A charter not controlled by a player is considered an inactive charter. However, an inactive charter may also become an active charter if you use these Automa rules. It's very important to remember that unless explicitly told otherwise, the Automas never receive resources, coins, or cards. They also never pay to take actions or receive benefits from buildings. First, the players need to extract cards 377 through 389 from the index. These 13 cards will make up the Automa deck. This deck will be shared by all Automas during the game. Follow the rules for the setup as detailed in the Chronicle with these small adjustments for the Automas. First, you'll need to determine the number of Automas you're going to use. If players choose to include the Automa system, the rulebook recommends using 2 Automas. However, players can feel free to use 1 or 5 if you're playing solo. Automas may be added or removed throughout the campaign, but keep in mind that any charter that is not active every single game will not be counted towards end of campaign scoring. One excellent use for the Automas would be if a player that is normally part of the campaign can't make it to a game night. Slip an Automa into their place, and then that charter is still active for their game, and therefore they could still take part in the end of campaign scoring. Once players have selected the Automa's charter, they'll then set up the regular workers and the influence tokens as normal. The Automa's victory point token is also placed on the 0 space, just like normal. The Automa deck is shuffled and placed near the board. Starting with Game 4, players will also remove the top 3 cards from the deck and place them off to the side face down without looking at them. The rulebook recommends not using Automas for Game 1. However, if players choose to do so anyway, they will place the starting building for that Automa in its charter, just like normal, but then the constructed building card will be shuffled into the advancement deck. An Automa's turn follows this procedure. If the Automa does not have any big or small regular workers available, in other words, both the big and small regular worker are on the board, then the Automa will retrieve all workers from the board and play will continue to the next player. If, on the other hand, the Automa does have one or both of its regular workers available, then resolve the following steps in order. First, reveal the top card of the Automa deck. If the Automa deck is empty when a card needs to be drawn, reshuffle all the Automa cards to create a new Automa deck. If this game were occurring in Game 4 or onward, that would mean that the 3 cards that have been removed were also shuffled back into the Automa deck. And once the new deck was created, 3 new cards will be taken face down from the top of the deck and set aside. Each Automa card shows either a specific building in the commons or prioritized plots in the charters. Regardless of which type of card is shown, once the appropriate building has been determined, the Automa will place one of its workers on that building, bumping any other regular workers off of that building in the process. If the Automa card is a specific building in the commons, then the Automa will place one regular worker on that building. If, on the other hand, the card looks like one of these, then the player controlling the Automa will roll the Charterstone die and choose the charter indicated, in this case, the yellow charter, and then select the building based on this. And what this is saying is that the building with the highest end of campaign value will be selected. The end of campaign value is the number found at the bottom in the purple circle of each building. In this case, we have a tie with 3 buildings all having 3 points. The player will then refer to this indicator right here, which says that the tie is broken in reverse alphabetical order. So in this case, the Automa would place its worker on the pumpkin market. If the card had this symbol instead of the Charterstone symbol, then players would choose the home charter of the Automa. So let's say that the yellow charter is the home charter for this particular Automa, and that we're now again looking for the most valuable building in terms of end of campaign scoring. Again, these 3 are tied. However, this time we're going in normal alphabetical order. And so the grain market would be the one that the Automa would place its worker. It's possible that some Automa cards, when looking at the end of campaign victory points, will choose the second highest, as you see here, or maybe even the third highest. When the players see this symbol on the drawn Automa card, then the Automa is given that number of victory points. If players see this strength icon on the Automa card, then the Automa is given victory points equal to the current Automa strength. Players can keep track of the Automa strength on page 2 of the Automa rulebook. It's important to remember that the Automa does not gain any victory points listed on the building itself. And as a reminder, the same goes for any other benefit listed on the buildings. This symbol indicates that the Automa will discard the 2 highest numbered cards on the advancement mat and then refill the mat with 2 cards from the deck. It's very important to recognize that discarding and archiving are 2 very different things. Discard simply means place the card into a discard pile, while archive means to permanently remove the card from this in all future games by placing it into the archive. So in this case, simply discard those 2 cards to the side of the board into the discard pile. This symbol indicates that the Automa will construct a building. Select any empty plot in the Automa's charter. If there are no empty plots, then do nothing. Take the lowest numbered unconstructed building card from the advancement mat and construct it on the selected plot. When determining the lowest number in this case, what's being referred to are the numbers in the bottom right corner of the cards. If there are no unconstructed building cards available, the Automa does nothing at all. If the Automa, on the other hand, does construct a building, the constructed building card is placed in the discard pile. This symbol means that the Automa will unlock a crate. The Automa unlocks the crate on the lowest numbered constructed building card on the advancement mat and follows the instructions on the index guide. If there are no constructed building cards, do nothing. If a persona card is unlocked in this case, the Automa that unlocked it will take that persona card and place it in their charter chest. All other cards that are unlocked are placed in the discard piles of their respective decks. This symbol indicates that the Automa moves the progress token 1 space. An Automa will not gain reputation for moving the progress token onto a reputation spot. However, if the Automa moves the progress token to a space with the income spot, all the regular players do gain income. If the reputation symbol is on the Automa card, then the Automa places an influence token in the next open space on the reputation track. If the Automa has no influence tokens, then it does nothing. And the Quota symbol indicates the Automa will place 1 influence token on the Quota track. The Quota track is filled by the Automa in the following way. The Automa will place its influence token in the leftmost column in the topmost space of that track. So in this case, here. If on a future turn all of these spaces have been filled, then the Automa would again look at the leftmost column, the topmost space in that column, and place the token here. Just as with regular buildings, the Automa gains no benefit directly from the track when placing its influence token on the Quota track. If the game being played is part of the campaign, then the players will follow the end of game steps as if the Automas are regular players. Also, in regards to guideposts, on page 4, the guideposts are listed in detail and show exactly how the Automas will interact with those guideposts. But due to the spoilery nature of guideposts and what they show, I'm not going to show that page on the screen right now. It's important to keep in mind that while Automas do compete for the guideposts, whether they win or lose is not necessarily dependent on exactly their board state, which is another reason to check out page 4 of the Automa guide. Also, the Automas are competing purely to gain 1 glory. If an Automa should be the one to choose a revealed option on a guidepost, then the choice can be resolved in one of 2 ways. Either the human players can choose on the Automa's behalf, or the Automa can choose by selecting the king option found here. In this case, the Happy King. Automas only score on the victory point track, reputation track, and guideposts. Automas gain glory starting with the top row of their charter chest and moving down as each row is completed. This is only used for the purposes of end campaign scoring, and the Automas do not gain any ongoing glory benefits. Automas will gain capacity just like their human counterparts. Assign this starting at the top left circle, moving down that column, and then continuing at the top of the next column. Capacity is only used for in-campaign scoring. Unless an Automa is temporarily replaced by a human player, the Automa doesn't retain any of these components from game to game. Starting with Game 2, and for every game after that, if the average victory points of all the human players was higher than of all the Automa's average victory points, then increase the Automa's strength by 1. On the other hand, if the average victory points of all human players was at least 10 points lower than that of all Automas, then decrease the Automa's strength by 1, but never decrease it below 2. Starting with Game 2, and in all games afterwards, randomly choose an unused persona from each Automa's charter chest, mark it as used, and then put it back in the box. Automas do not accomplish objectives. Also, after Game 2, the rules will indicate how to set up inactive charters. Keep in mind that for those rules, the Automas are considered active charters. Anytime the players add a new rule or story card to the Chronicle, if the number of that card is here on the bottom of page 4 of the Automa rulebook, follow the listed instructions next to it. And that's how you use the Automas for Charterstone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've been having fun playing Charterstone, or you're about to have fun playing Charterstone. Either way, these Automas can be a fun addition to the game. And of course, if you're playing with just one player, a necessary one. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I'll try to answer them when I can. If you would like to support the channel, you can buy these t-shirts from geekygoodies.com, lots of other colors as well. We also have a pod pledge page. And until next time, if you're bored online, bored offline.